Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto Byte. Today is Monday, April 4th. Pretty exciting weekend in crypto. We had some volatile price action. We also had some drama unfolding in terms of Wave and their native stablecoin losing its peg. We'll talk about that. But first, CJ, how are you doing today, my friend?
Doing well, Monty. Like you said, interesting price action. So definitely a lot to discuss. And then this whole waves debacle. I don't know if it's going to end up like Titan and Iron. I don't think it'll be that drastic, but um, it's definitely looking vulnerable up here in the 40s, especially after just the negative price action we've seen. But excited to get into that Bitcoin and a lot more today. But how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, doing well, doing well. It was an exciting weekend. A little bit of a pullback last night in the later half of the Asian session, but Bitcoin still maintaining those critical levels. I think we should start there, but after that, yeah, definitely excited to dive into that Waves USDN drama because there was some interesting stuff going on Twitter. Some allegations being thrown at FTX and Alameda for price manipulation, but it really was an interesting 24 hours. But like I said, let's start with Bitcoin. You want to dive into some charts here?
Yeah, if we don't get to Bitcoin, we're just going to start going
Yeah, I
down
know.
the waves rabbit hole. It's pretty simple, right? This 45 level, very key.
Yeah.
If we were to close below 44, that would definitely shake my bullish conviction and bullish bias at the current moment. And that has to do primarily with just the overall bull market support band. A weekly close below this level of 44 to 43K. Then you have a new level of resistance that you're dealing with that is potentially stronger. So just not ideal. You want to keep the current trend and that posture ideally strong. And so that's basically the line in the sand. But until we reach that level, or if we reach that level, I think we're still postured pretty bullish here, despite kind of the bearish consolidation we've had the past couple days. The thing that I think is interesting and what this could potentially be is like we've had our sign of strength. We've had our massive like short squeeze, not a massive short squeeze, but we've had our grind to the upside and our final break out from resistance, and now we're consolidating. And it kind of reminds me of like the classic phase D, where you have the test of the lows, you then spring up above previous resistance and flip that to new support. And so perhaps we are currently sitting around something like that, where we have that, bullish to neutral consolidation before kind of a continuation or another bull flag higher. Now, obviously, this chart's a little bit different because we have lower lows in this chart, but in Bitcoin, we actually had higher lows. Um, Either way, that could be lining up for a potential another spring higher. We'll have to see. It's very simple, though. It's just a 45 level needs to hold up and be firm. If not, if we lose that level, then you have to start questioning the authenticity of the trend. But right now, I still think it's quite strong.
Yeah, absolutely. All eyes are on that 45K level. And, as long as that level's maintained, I think we're still within that range. And, just last week we were talking about the critical nature of the 200-day moving average up at about 48K. So I think, as long as we maintain that 45K level, we have a decent chance of returning to, that 48K level. I think that's the next hurdle. And whenever you have a clear range like that, it's kind of ideal for, trading around, especially in the altcoins. But that's what you're seeing for Bitcoin. Shall we dive into this waves news?
Can I just show the charts first?
Yeah. I think
To
the
just
charts are a great
yeah.
place to start. I
So
mean,
incredible run, right?
yeah, that's what we've been talking about for like the last month. This thing had been one of the most parabolic assets in the space, probably the most parabolic, along with like Rune. But this thing really was just outperforming the market on incredible volume. But it seems like that is starting to come into question here. So, what are you seeing from the chart, CJ?
You're starting to see weakness, obviously. This is one, just for disclosure purposes, I did decide to short this morning just because it seems somewhat asymmetric, pretty close to the current levels. Just because if it actually does break, it's going to break hard. Let's say Bitcoin loses that 45 level, and the bullish conviction is is questioned for the short term. I think Waves is going to fall even harder. I mean, being down 9% today with the market down a little bit, it's already showing that high beta to the downside. So seems like a good asymmetric bet. You're wrong above this level, roughly 58. With the potential to squeeze higher, but I think you do have to say kind of, I hate when people say enough is enough, but I mean, you kind of got to say it here because I mean we went from roughly $8 all the way up to 60, at the start of February 22nd. So in 5 weeks, that is an unprecedented run, even in crypto. So you'd think we're going to have a little bit more bearish price action, at least in the short term, but we are really running into that key support level. I think if we lose that, it's pretty safe to say we're going to 34, and that range roughly. But the key thing is the stablecoin losing its peg. So, like UST and Luna and Titan and Iron, you kind of have this situation where you have the value layer being Waves, and then you have the payment layer being Neutrino, or in this case USDN. And when there becomes like doubt in the protocol's validity, people will sell below $1 and the peg will be shaken. And this morning, it went all the way down to 80 cents, or 85 cents to be perfectly specific. And Tether has done that as well in certain times, but Tether is a centralized coin; it's not decentralized. So when you have the decentralized peg breaking, that makes it even more sketchy. And then you have the founder of the protocol then putting a proposal to essentially liquidate all the short positions on Virus Finance, which is essentially the Aave of Waves. And like, one, that completely ruins the integrity of your protocol because it immediately says you don't care about decentralization or immutability. All you care about is making money because you just want to pump the short speculators out of your protocol. So at the very least, it's a massive reputational hit. But Monty, do you have any comments or thoughts on that situation?
Yeah, and just like 2 weeks ago, CJ, you and I were discussing, Luna and their purchase of Bitcoin, what that meant, why they were doing it. And I think when you have something like this happening, it makes that narrative for using Bitcoin as, a means for backing your reserve currency even more clear. Because when you have an algorithmically pegged stablecoin like, Waves and USDN, the way it works is it's still contingent on the demand of the overall ecosystem, continuing to at least remain constant. If there is a, crisis or a flock from that ecosystem, like we're seeing here today, then that peg becomes under, massive threat. The same thing could have happened to Luna just a few months ago if, the Luna ecosystem had come under fire. For whatever reason, UST could have lost its peg. We saw it almost happen with the whole Wonderland debacle. There was a little bit of fluctuation in the price of UST, nothing quite like this, but that is the important thing to remember, that algorithmically pegged stablecoins are still contingent on demand for the ecosystem remaining constant. So without some third party collateral like Bitcoin, they need to rely on demand continuing to come in, and that's just not happening in this case. And like you said, CJ, it's been a really interesting, 24 hours here. And I think the founder here, Sasha Ivanov, you can follow him on Twitter, Sasha35625. But he says Alameda Research manipulates Waves price and organizes FUD. If you're not familiar, Alameda Research is a quantitative crypto trading firm funded by FTX. And basically, he goes on to assert that, the reason why this current depegging is happening is because of withdrawals from Beer Finance made by FTX. So, like CJ said, he put forward a proposal to essentially eliminate short selling and let's see what. In order to prevent price manipulation and protect the ecosystem, I propose to temporarily reduce the liquidation threshold for Waves and USDN borrowing to 0.1%. Also, I propose to limit the maximum borrow APR to 40%. So that's the proposal. Obviously, Twitter users were not happy. And if we look at Veer's Finance on DeFi Llama, continuing to see an exodus of capital here, an exodus of liquidity from this protocol, which, like CJ said, is sort of like the Ave of waves. So this is not an encouraging sign for ecosystem health. This tells me that people are very scared. People are withdrawing their money from this ecosystem, and this token waves could plausibly continue to fall and give back all the gains it's made over the last couple of weeks here. So this type of event is the sort of thing, like you said, CJ, that can ruin your reputation. And when you have an asset that's based on a value layer, like you said, and then also a payment layer with this stable coin, you need to have confidence in that payment layer, and that's shaken right now. So very, very scary stuff for waves, and we'll continue to monitor that. But in the interim, CJ, I would not want to be holding any of that.
I mean, yeah. And I mean, would you want to be holding it just on price action alone? I mean, you got to be happy with a move from 10 to 60 or even higher, 68. I think it was its top. So regardless, yeah. Anything else you'd like to check out? Otherwise, that's all I got for today.
Yeah, I think that's all we got for today. As always, we'll be hanging out in the chat room for the rest of the day, and tomorrow we'll be heading to BTC Miami. So very much looking forward to that. If you guys are in the area, please feel free to drop by our booth. We will have a booth there. Say hello to us and the Voyager folks. But yeah, that's all we got for today. If you guys would like to join CJ and I in the crypto community, you can do so at the link below me. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. Really helps the channel. But thank you guys so much for watching. See you.